Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm Skratch. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Guys, we have a crazy summon rush coming this weekend for the Fusion. Usually, they don't tend to give us very good champions on the events when we have a Fusion going on. But this time around, we actually have some crazy champions. And you know what? They are going to bait me as well because my most wanted Void champion is on the list. And one of my most wanted non-void champions is on the list as well. So during this summon rush, you're going to be able to actually earn an epic champion for the Fabian Fusion, which will make your life much easier if you have enough shards to get it. And that's mainly because you're going to be able to skip different events, regardless if it's a part of the champion chase tournament, depending on how they are splitting the rewards in there, or if you want to skip a dungeon divers, an artifact enhancement, or something else that tends to be pretty annoying, you will be able to do so because, hey, you're going to get the epic, which is the equivalent of 4 rares directly. Plus, I really need some mythical books for my Galatir because he's still not fully booked. Leaving all that on the side, guys, if we're quickly going to have a look at their calendar right here, as usual, expect to have a pair of light or something like that once the fusion is done. Now, we're not going to be able to see all of these things that will start after the fusion. Not yet, but I am expecting to see something like that. You see, we have the champion chase tournament right here, which will give us a rare champion. And of course, the dungeon divers, which this time around, they do seem to be a bit harder. And that's mainly because they're not really interconnecting with a lot of tournaments for the dungeons, right? So I feel like a lot of people will be really tempted to skip some of them. But at around here, probably not next week, the week after, most likely we're going to have a Pair of Light event or maybe a Titan event for their anniversary, right? I can't remember if they've mentioned that anywhere, if the Festival of Creation will have a Titan event. Judging based on what they've done in the past, we might have a Titan event. Who knows? Either way, let's quickly talk about the champions that we have on the list for this weekend. This Friday, March 14th, they are planning to launch a progressive chance event, giving you at least a 15x chance to summon the champions of your dreams from Ancient Voids, Primal, and of course, Sacred Shards. So, we do have some pretty badass champions, okay? I'm quickly gonna talk a bit about each one of them, guys. Let's start directly with Elva. Elva is an absolutely insane champion for the Chimera, guys. If you don't have Star Sage Galatir and your main goal is to get a lot of trials, she is the best champion after Star Sage Galatir. Now, of course, if you're looking to get the highest amount of damage, you have a different champion on the list, which it is on the summoning event, but we're gonna get to her in just a second. The reason why Elva is so good, and it's not just for the Chimera, just in general, if we're talking about Hydra, if we're talking about even Arena, if we're talking about PvE content, she is a massive carry. You have a speed aura for all battles, continuous heals on the A1, cleanse, immunity, increased speed, which is really, really good on a 3-turn cooldown. You have a revive on a 3-turn cooldown. This is one of the main things that really makes her super powerful in the Chimera as well. Everything that she brings in the kit, increased defense, increased attack. You have the Veil from the passive right here, which is really, really helpful. So she is a top dog. I've been running Elva in my Chimera teams since the very beginning. I feel like probably in the very first week, that was the only time when I actually haven't used her, or maybe even in the first week. She is absolutely amazing. So I like when we have good champions during these events for the fusions. I know it's just a 15x. It's not the best thing. The chances are still super low. You basically gotta get insanely lucky to get a champion. But it's much better to have good champions than bad champions and be forced to summon anyway because you're doing the fusion, right? So that's why it is a pretty badass summon rush this weekend. Then, moving on to the next one, we have Duchess Lilith. It seems like it almost revolves around support champions. So, Duchess, what can I tell you? You guys know the drill with Duchess. She's really, really strong. I feel like she did lose a bit of value for PvP and PvE with the addition of the new content, but I'm still running her. I'm running her in my Hydra. I do run her every now and then in Arena. in a lot of other content. You have the speed aura, the shield on the A1, you have the increased attack, veil, immunity, you have the revive, the passive that brings damage reduction. I have my Duchess built with very high resistance, and she's built on a one stone skin set. I was gonna say turn, and I have some mixed pieces of gear just to give me a lot of extra resistance, you know. And that's mainly to kind of like try and counter some of the champions in Arena. That's the main idea with her. And the one that I'm running in the Hydra is on a 9-piece protection set because, hey, she does bring a lot of buffs, right? So that will give me a lot of extra damage. Moving on to one of my most wanted non-void legendaries, and that is Glaicad. Very similar with Duchess in a way or another. Just a little bit better for the Chimera or the Hydra, okay? So you're gonna have this passive that will give you additional damage. So when the allies are under a perfect veil placed by this champion, they're going to deal 10% more damage, which it might not sound a lot, but it does add quite a bit. You have a speed aura for all battles. You have the revive with increased accuracy and increased defense, which once again is going to be massive for some of the trials in the Chimera and very good just in general. You can use this even if you don't need to revive anyone and you're going to gain an extra turn. Then you have the increased attack, you have the perfect veil, and the good thing about it is that you are gaining 15% turn meter when you're using this skill. And the A1 has a chance to freeze, which to be honest is pretty irrelevant. So this is a pretty badass champion as well. 9-piece protection would be amazing on him for most of the content. Relentless plus impulse or reflex. You have quite a few different options when we are talking about builds for him. But if you're trying to boost the damage, furthermore, 9-piece protection is the way to go because you have 2 buffs and you have 2 more from here. So 4 buffs, that's straight off the back, 20% damage boost plus the passive 30% damage boost. So he does add a lot. Then, moving on to the next one, we have Pythion. He was a fusion probably a couple of years ago or something like that. He is still a pretty strong champion. Now, he's not necessarily the best reviver or anything like that, but I'm pretty convinced that the majority of you guys that have Pythion will be like, yeah, he's great. Like, I know I'm running him in the Curse City. I am using him versus Amius. I'm not really using him in Arena or in PvE content, and that's mainly because I do have a pretty stacked account because I'm a filthy degenerate whale, right? And I do have better options, and now I got Galatir, and my god, I'm not using anyone else but Galatir till I get bored of him, right? Which probably is never gonna happen, but he is a solid one. So you're getting a bit of a healing with the A1, you have a cleanse, you have an immunity on a 3-turn cooldown, a bit of a healing from here as well. You have the revive with strengthen and the passive, which brings you damage reduction. The more buffs on the team, on the champions, the more damage reduction you're gonna get, up to 25%. Now, you can build him with high resistance as well. You can build him on a bolster set if you're running him in PvP, and I've seen a lot of people still running Pythion even in Gold 4 in Live Arena, Tag Team Arena, etc. You can go with Stone Skin plus a different set, like a bolster or something that will put some immunity on him if you cannot get resistance. So like this, they're not quickly going to melt his stone skin or remove the buffs or put bombs on him, etc. Right? So you have quite a few different options on the builds for him as well based on what you're planning to do. A 9-piece protection on him is pretty irrelevant, to be honest, because you're only getting a buff from there and another one from here. So I feel like you could do a much better build on him with different sets. Then, moving on to the next one, we have High Keeper Prysma. I'm not the biggest fan of this champion, but then I'm not disliking the champion either. It does look pretty cool. I love the design, the effects on it. I wish this revive skill would have been on a 3-turn cooldown rather than a 4-turn cooldown. That would make the champion so much better. Increase attack, perfect veil, 75% HP and turn meter. You have the A2, which the ally with the highest crit damage will join the attack. Really, really good. If the enemy is killed, that champion is going to basically activate an instant turn. Once again, pretty solid. But you could potentially basically bring in the champion with the highest crit damage and do a lot of extra damage because you are going to ignore additional defense. So it's pretty nice. You have the cleanse as well, but only on a target. A chance to stun. The passive not too bad either. But as I've mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of Prysma. Not a bad champion, not an OP one, or not a must-have champion in my opinion. But still, if a couple of things would have been changed in the kit, it could have been a very, very solid champion. Moving on to the next one. My most wanted Void champion, guys. I only have 20 Voids and a Dream. I'm far off from the Mercy. Probably I've opened like 20 shards before, because I've got Shuzan a while ago, right? Since then, I haven't really opened many Voids because I haven't bought any. Senna and Berhart, the GOAT for the Chimera when we are talking about dealing crazy, crazy, crazy damage. She is just absolutely insane, guys. And it all has to do with this passive, just giving so much turn meter to your champions that they're just going to overlap the boss over and over and over and over again. I have clanmates that are literally reaching the 1,500 turns limit on the Chimera because of her, guys. So when I'm going to do my key in the Chimera, I barely do anything in terms of damage because my main focus is on trials, right? But if you're having a quick look at the Greer, big shout out to him, 1 billion damage on Ultra Nightmare, guys, with Senna, Androck, Toshiro, Lady Mikage, and Firal. That is some crazy, crazy damage. And you have 11 trials as well, which honestly is really not bad whatsoever. Now, my main focus is on trials. Probably you guys saw it, or maybe you haven't saw the video that I've posted the other day. So I'm quickly going to see where I am. There we go. So I've done 19 trials with my team since I got Galatir. Super, super good. But my damage is a fraction of what the Greer did with Senna. And that's mainly because she gives so much turn meter that your champions are just constantly taking turns. So even though my main goal is to achieve to do a lot of trials, I would still like to have her just to push high damage every now and then when needed, basically, right? Super solid champion, though. It's funny because she wasn't that great, and since the Chimera, everybody wants her, including myself. Then, moving on to the next one, guys, we have Sulfuryion. Absolutely OP for Arena, especially if you have the full Lizard team. Melts the Stone Skin, gives you turn meter. He has the revive, the extra turn, the A1, the passive. Really, really solid. Now, if your main goal is to build him for PvP, even if you don't have Theox necessarily, you can still run him in PvP to melt Stone Skin because he applies the burn and melts it at the same time, right? So you're gonna want to build him on Pinpoint, on Feral, as fast as possible with as much accuracy as possible. Or you can go with a one-turn Stone Skin plus a different set as well. That can be really helpful as well, especially if you are building the full Lizard team, because like that, if they have a temporal chain or anything like that, they're not going to drop their turn meter, right? So that's pretty damn massive and important as well. But Sulfuryion crazy good for PvE and PvP, to be honest. Funny enough, when he was released, he wasn't looking that interesting for PvP. But hey, things change, right? Then, moving on to the next one. I know this is going to be a fan's favorite. Marichka the Unbreakable. Really powerful champion, even in today's meta. Honestly, if we're talking about Platinum Arena Reset, you're not going to see a team without her in the top 50, top 100. And that's mainly because she is just such a nasty champion. The passive, the healing, the cleanse, the turn meter, the speed aura, everything that she basically brings to the table. Now, you can build her on Stone Skin plus Swift Parry. Just Stone Skin. You can even go with higher resistance if you want to. Truth be told, high resistance is pretty irrelevant, especially versus all of the mythical champions. But Marichka is still a very, a very strong champion. My bad, sorry. Now, if we're quickly going to have a look at what we can find in a Classic Arena in top plat right here, you're going to see that there are a lot of Marichkas. Like, one of the main teams is this one right here. You see, you have Marichka, Nice, Siegfried, Taras, or you can put in a Siegfried, and then it gets even more painful. Like this one painful, this one right here. This is one of the most painful teams. Crazy, crazy teams, and all of them have Marichka, right? Now, of course, it's midweek right now, so most likely not everybody will use the main defense team. But very, very crazy. Now, in terms of epic champions, guys, we have some pretty decent epics as well. I don't necessarily care much about epics personally, but I know a lot of you guys do. So we're going to have Rector Dread, which is one of the revivers that we have on the list. Pretty solid champion. A lot of you guys can get her for free when you start a new account with a download link from a creator or by using a promo code. So I would assume the majority of you guys will have a Rector Dread. But she's a pretty good progression champion for the Hydra clan boss, Faction Wars, Doom Tower, Secret Rooms, the Revive, the Healing, the Veil. Pretty amazing epic. Then we have Tagowar, which most likely became one of the fans' favorite for the last 6 months, maybe more than that. Time is just flying. But a really good reviver as well from the Orcs faction. So you have increased defense on the ally with the lowest HP. You have increased speed. You have a massive healing right here. Then you have revive all dead allies on a 4-turn cooldown with a shield. Really, really good. And the passive is nice too because you have damage reduction. HP aura for all battles. He's really one of the best revivers in the game as an epic, you know. AoE revive on a 4-turn cooldown is actually really, really strong. Then, moving on to the next one, guys, we have Ugo. Now, Ugo is great for a lot of content, especially Hydra clan boss. Defense down, block buffs, I'll leave it there, okay? She's not really a reviver, okay? But with the passive, if she's the last champion alive, she will get a block damage and revive the rest of the allies. You have a bit of a cleanse right here with a bit of healing, a leech on the A1. I'm running 2 Ugos, okay? One of them built purely for Hydra and stuff, which I'm not really using at the moment. And I have another one which is built on a stun set for Secret Rooms, Curse City, and stuff like that. And she's actually really, really effective. Then, moving on to the next one. Godseeker Aniri. I still think that she is one of the best epic support champions in the game. Healing on the A1, healing on the A2 increases the duration of buffs on all of the allies and decreases the duration of buffs on the enemies. The revive skill is crazy. It is on a 4-turn cooldown, but it revives a champion with all of their skills on 0 cooldown. So they can instantly use them. The passive, which instantly revives somebody, usually the lead. Really, really strong as well. She is one of the GOATs for the Sand Devils Necropolis, and just in general, you can use her in a lot of content. And the last champion, Cardinal. Most likely the most powerful revive in the entire game, and that is because they are instantly going to take a turn, okay? You guys probably saw, I've done, I don't know, 4 or 5 different videos on this strategy for the last 5-6 years, where basically you're gonna see Cardinal on Stone Skin or super tanky to make sure she doesn't die. All of the rest of the team dies. She revives with this skill, and your team will instantly take a turn no matter how fast the enemies are, no matter how much turn meter they have or buffs, okay? So it's super strong to counter speed teams in Arena. If you guys are trying to progress in Tag Team Arena, build a Cardinal, put her on Stone Skin, try to give her some resistance if you're planning to go versus teams that actually strip buffs or anything like that. And I can guarantee you that this team will absolutely dump on all of the speed teams. Definitely do not sleep on Cardinal. But guys, that was all for this video. As I've mentioned, we have some crazy good champions. Hopefully we're gonna get lucky and we're gonna get basically what we need. I am planning to open the Sacreds. I am planning to open the Voids. And most likely I'm gonna try to go as hard on the Summon Rush as possible to get those mythical books because I need them for my Galatir. As usual, much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.